This is for the free thinkers, the curious beings that swim upstream, who see possibilities, not problems, that learn from the past, live by the present, and create the future. This is the I Love Ugly audio show.
Welcome to the I Love Ugly audio show. I'm Valentin Ozic, creative director and founder of I Love Ugly. On this episode, we sit down with longtime friend of ours, New York-based hip-hop artist Oddisee. We discuss his recent world tour, the role religion played in his life, and what it takes to become an artist in the world we live in today. Enjoy.
What's up, Amir?
What's up, V? How are you?
My man, it's been a while.
Likewise, it's been good.
But it kind of feels like I was just hanging out with you yesterday.
Here we are. I'm back in New Zealand. Coffee Supreme on deck.
Yeah,
Let's
100%, man.
Yeah.
So what's been happening, man? You've been on tour for how long?
On this particular tour, almost 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started in Shanghai, worked our way all through Asia, Beijing, Bangkok. Where else did we go? Seoul, Tokyo, Singapore, Vietnam.
Damn.
And then we went to Australia, did 4 days there, and then here we are in New Zealand now.
Yeah. So, question, when you're going to these new markets, Shanghai, Vietnam, is that happening organically, or are you guys strategically trying to penetrate those markets? Because I know, 5-6 years ago, the first time I met you, you toured in NZ, and I think at the time, you're packing out little venues, maybe 100 odd people, 50 odd people. And now it's, you're traveling Hawke's Bay, all the smaller cities as well. So obviously there's a huge demand. So is that kind of part of the strategy? Like, certain countries go city by city and just keep doing that over and over, or?
Sure, there's definitely a level of strategy to it. I mean, for us, we can only go where we're booked. So when we do get the chance to go somewhere and we get offers in, we have to be strategic about which offers we accept. And you never want to oversaturate yourself as an artist, at least it's my opinion. So I'm always looking to expand markets that I'm undersaturated in so that I can tour there and give a break to other markets that I've toured repeatedly. And for me right now, the East, Asia, down under, these are markets that I want to develop. And in order to develop them, you have to do smaller cities. You have to take a pay cut. You have to do smaller cities. And when you do that, you can amass enough people who, once they see it, when you return, then you can do less shows in these markets in larger cities, and people will drive out to do them. But you basically have to make an investment. You have to put something in to get something out.
100%.
So, right now, Asia is a really important place for us as hip-hop artists in a touring band. We're providing a caliber and a type of show that isn't normally seen in Asia. You got superstars who come, you have a lot of amateurs who can come, but what we are is mid-level artists of high quality who are still relatively unknown. You don't get a lot of artists like us because it's too hard to bring us over money-wise. So right now we're trying to develop that market so that we can corner it. You got a lot of people with disposable income in Asia. Ever-growing middle classes with ever-growing populations. So it's something that needs to be considered if you're a musician,
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like, just new markets, and you're playing the long tail game, because it just feels that nowadays, in this generation in which we live in, it's just all hits. People want to go from zero to blowing up, filling up stadiums from one track, but obviously, you've been doing this for long enough to know that's not reality. And also, you can't really, because end of the day, this is a business for you, right?
Sure.
So it's your art form, but it's also your living. And
Absolutely.
it's your business, so you got to play the long tail game as well. So is that, so for those markets, like, are they opening up more to more underground, independent hip hop?
They are.
And is this a new thing? And you think you're establishing yourself within this market as the early adapter of that kind of trend?
I think they've always been interested, but now they have the means to produce the tours and to produce the shows. There's always been an interest. There's always been places like in Russia. I remember a massive following of people and interaction on social media with Russia, but I never had a show in Russia. And then I remember iTunes being made available in Russia, and within a year I had my first gig in Moscow.
Yeah, damn. I think, you told me
Remember we
about
talked about that?
And then there's that dude you told me, he said you can't go without a certain like you have to stay within certain proximity of
Oh
the
yeah, you
area.
remember that.
because
He's
of
like,
the-
yeah, you want to
all
walk
the
around and be a
racism.
tourist?
Yeah.
Just stay in this area.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always been an interest in a lot of places. I have a massive interest in South Africa. I have a massive interest in Brazil. These are two places I've never gone yet.
Yeah.
I have had no promoters that have been able to reach out to me and say, I want to bring you to South Africa. And reason being is, if you bring me to South Africa right now to do a show, it'll be sold out.
Yeah.
Let's say 700 to 1,000 people. It's going to be sold out.
Yeah.
If you bring a newer artist who's emerging with a great new EP that's buzzing, that same amount of people are going to come for the same amount. Now, how much will it cost to bring that one guy and his DJ down and his visas and his accommodations and his fee versus me with a party of 8? You can't increase the ticket price or the people won't pay it. So you have to keep the ticket price here, which keeps me locked out of certain markets.
Yeah.
Simple, just money.
Yeah.
So on this tour, we did what we had to do to get into these markets so that we're confident that when people see our shows, they'll find a way to bring us back. And that's what definitely happened. We did a festival in Bangkok this year.
Yeah.
It was the first festival that they had put on. And they put this poll up afterwards. And they said, who's the best performance that you guys saw? It was like unanimously like us.
Yeah.
And the promoter was talking to my manager. She's like, yo, we're getting all these calls to book you guys
Yeah.
immediately. Like, we're definitely coming back next year.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Job done.
Damn.
And it happened in Clockenflap Festival in Hong Kong. We were voted one of the best shows. And immediately we're being called back. Blue Note, Beijing, we did 2 performances there. We're being asked to come back. Bangkok, same situation. Wherever we go, and when people are introduced to what it is we do, they find a way to bring us back.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Probably sounds like a bit of a silly question, but do you get nervous that people will just not going to turn up or not pack it out? Because I know I was listening, I was reading it somewhere recently, even Ozzy Osbourne, he'd pack out, 100,000 people, and he would be, spewing in the toilets beforehand because he'll be nervous that people wouldn't turn up. So you got none of that?
I'll be honest with you.
Why is that? Like,
Turnout's not an issue to me.
yeah,
If no one comes to my shows, it doesn't affect me.
yeah,
I don't really care.
Yeah.
I only care about the people who do come. I take more of a theatrical approach to show performances. So if you're in theater, you got to do the same show every day for sometimes like 2 years.
yeah,
The exact same show.
yeah,
No matter how many people buy tickets, you go out and you do your show, right? And people watch you act on stage. And in order to do the amount of shows that we do, sometimes 140, 150 in a year, how do you maintain the same show for people and the same quality for show if you are emotionally invested? And that's dependent on the reaction or the amount of crowd attendance. Like, you're doing yourself an injustice and you're doing the crowd an injustice if you're dependent on crowd attendance and energy from them, a response in order for you to do your job. And I very much see what I do as a job. And no one can come to work here or anywhere else and based on how they feel, act a certain way at work.
Yeah.
You have to come to work,
yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't matter who's in the crowd. I'm almost on autopilot on stage.
yeah,
Everything is scripted and rehearsed. Our
Yeah.
jokes,
yeah,
our candid moments,
yeah,
it's all written out.
Yeah.
And we want to make you feel like it's happening for the first time. And you will. I'll tell you this right now, if you come to the show, you guarantee you'll still feel like it's happening something spontaneous.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course,
And
man.
we've perfected that,
Yeah. And 140 shows in a year. Fuck, that's drains your energy. And also the fact you're a father now, that must be also equally difficult. Like, how do you must also, you'll go to crowds and you'll feed off your energy, but you must get days where you're like, man, I'd rather be at home with my daughter.
Most days.
Yeah. So how do you actually kind of get through a lot of that? Because a lot of people professionals, people coming up, that affects them to the point where it paralyzes them and they actually can't go on.
true.
Like, how do you maintain that professionalism and that kind of just that barrier? You drop those barriers and you keep pursuing it. How do you do that?
Objectivity.
What do you mean by that?
I think that's the hardest thing to possess when you're a creative, is the ability to be objective about your own self and your work. To step outside of it and view it through the eyes of someone else, not simply because you made it. And objectively, I have to know what to cut out of my life and what to add in order to sustain myself. So this year, I didn't come out with an album. My daughter was born on July 21st, 2017.
Yeah.
And I came home, I was done touring, I want to say December 2017 when I was done. I was in Portugal. I mean, I was in and out. My daughter was born in France, and I spent the summer in Europe. So we were together. I stayed in France July and August with him. And I went to do some shows in September, and then my wife came back in November, and then I came back in December. I came home that December, and my label was like, great, we need this album. And just like every other album that came out before it, I had 3 months to do it. And I said, you know what?
Is that short?
It's very short.
Yeah.
It's very short. But my label needs the album to come out because they need time to manufacture it. And then my booking agency needs the album to come out as soon as possible because when the record's out, they can send it to the promoters to consider booking me for next year. And then my manager needs the album to be done so he can renegotiate my publishing deal and pitch it for licensing so that my music is in documentaries, commercials, and video games approximately around the same time as the release. So everyone's looking at me to finish this record so that they can do their job in advance. And it starts looking like zeros and ones and not art anymore. So I came home in that December and I was like, I can't do this album. I got nothing. And I don't want anything. I just want to not shave and stay at home with my daughter.
Fair enough, man.
And the compromise was cutting the mustache off when I came on tour. It was doing its own thing. And I came home in December and I just was a dad. That's it. I didn't do anything. You know, obviously I had time during the day. I just made beats, but I didn't make beats for a deadline or for an album.
Yeah.
It was just for fun again. I would holler at people. It's like, hey, I like what you're doing. You want to work on a track?
Yeah.
And they were like, sure. I was like, for nothing. I just want to just do it.
Did you find during that period you're making better quality music because you're not doing it for anything besides just pure art form? Like you had no deadlines, no video games to produce.
I'm trying to be objective. I never put out something that I don't like.
Yeah.
But do I enjoy it while I'm creating it? And I found that I enjoyed this more. But the end result of what I was making, I liked it just as much as anything else I put out.
Yeah.
It's just the pressure, the positive stress versus the negative stress.
100%.
And I talk about that with my peers a lot, about positive stress and negative stress.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, there's stress which you can use as a tool, and there's a stress that just it can completely disable you.
Exactly.
And then as you grow as an artist and a professional, you used to utilize both forms of stress. So,
100%.
Yeah. So do you feel with you know, now there's a daughter in your life, has that changed you much as a person?
Oh yeah, man. I see so many things through her eyes now.
Yeah.
And I see so many things that what she's going to see eventually. The first thing was Pink.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And I'm like, what is all of this, like, overbearing gender control? Mind you.
But did you force that on her, or it's just they just pick it, right?
No. It was just everyone who came to us was giving us pink.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
All the gifts were in pink. And I'm like, there's plenty of other colors to express gender, or femininity, or masculinity, or expression. There's plenty of other colors for these things.
Yeah.
What is all of this pink?
Yeah.
I don't even like pink. My wife's like, I don't like pink either. I was like, can we not do this whole pink thing?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right. So that was the first step. The second step, my family being Sudanese, they immediately pierce girls' ears so that you can identify them as girls.
How old? When did they start doing that?
A month?
Wow.
2?
Yeah. Damn, that must have been painful. Eh?
Well, no, we didn't do it.
Oh, wow.
In fact, my family was like, so my sister was like, when are you going to pierce her ears?
Yeah.
I was like, when she decides that she wants her ears pierced and she has a conversation and she says, I want it, I'll let her pierce her ears.
Yeah.
On that day, I'll say, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
Because she'll understand the power of decision making.
Yeah.
If she's 8 and she comes to me and she says, I want my ears pierced,
Yeah.
I will let her get her ears pierced.
Yeah.
The fact that she asked me she'll learn the power of decision making, directly or indirectly. You know what I mean?
100%.
And so yeah, my eyes opened a lot to that, and just I don't even know another way to say this. People come and they say my daughter's pretty a lot, and it really irritates me.
Really?
Yeah, it irritates me because I feel like there's this attention on appearance that I'm now noticing that starts with women when they're very, very young. That's not put on men. And no matter how many times, when people say that, obviously they don't know my daughter the way I do. It's like, oh my God, your daughter's so pretty. She's gonna be a looker. You better get a gun, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I'm like, she's really smart.
Yeah. Because she's 16 months now, right?
Yeah, like she can comprehend 3 languages already.
Wow.
I'm like, she does this, she does that, and they're like, so those eyes though.
Yeah. Man, kids are so, because I got 3 children, as you know, and they are, even though they may not be able to articulate or they may seem like they're not understanding, they understand, they know what's going on.
So much.
And they are smart.
They're
like,
so sharp.
The way they can manipulate, the way they can
You have a daughter now.
Yeah, I got a daughter, 10-year-old daughter.
Do you notice any difference in the types of comments your sons received as infants or young ones versus your daughter, or the type of gifts they receive, or what's focused on? Have you noticed the difference?
100%, yeah. Like my daughter, because I was a dad at 22, so everything happened so fast. I was just trying to comprehend what was going on.
Yeah.
But as my daughter's grown, I've noticed that she's trying to, same thing. Like if anybody tries to kind of box her in this whole cliche girl category, she doesn't like it. She wants to be her own girl. So she told me, she wants to run this company one day.
Yeah.
She told me that she doesn't like pink, she likes black. And then, but yeah, it's true. Like your daughter, and then for the son, it's all about, you're strong, you're a big boy. Which you'll probably get when if you have a boy. But it's it's crazy. Just like the way people and just culture kind of, and you got to be careful as well. If you let too much in, it can begin dictating, without being like an authoritative figure in their life. If you just let culture be the figure, it's dangerous,
Something that my eyes are open to now that, if I'm honest, I didn't really see. Even with my own siblings, I have sisters. I didn't see it until I had my own daughter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. Well, it's like you don't really understand, or what your parents say doesn't resonate to you until you become a parent.
Sure.
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then some stuff, even though it grinded your gears when you're younger, it's not until you become a father where you realize your parents were actually right.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
That's happened to me quite a lot in the recent
so
years.
Much.
Yeah. But it's that's amazing, man. I'm real happy about that. That's kind of really changed your life like that as well. So, so how you're 32 years old?
Yeah.
32?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know what my Wikipedia says versus my real age.
Yeah.
You want to say 32? Let's go with it.
Yeah, cool, man. I was actually like that the other day.
See that, Dan? See? I didn't tell the truth. All right.
So how long, how long do you reckon you could be, continue doing this for? Like, actually, I'm talking on the stage, performing. Do you see, is there an end goal? Is there?
Yeah. It's all about being objective again.
Yeah.
As I get older, I'll still be able to tour. The venues will get smaller.
Yeah.
The show dates will dry up. There won't be as many. But they'll still be there.
Yeah.
I'll go from doing, 700 to 1,000 to 300 to 500 to eventually 150 to 250. And then that 250 will be a core audience who has been listening to me for years and has kind of grown up with me and has had children to my music, etc. And they'll be there. And to this day, if I go do a venue that's 700 to 1,000 capacity, how many people in there are core followers of my music? Anytime I do a show, doesn't matter how many times I come back to a city, probably about 200, 250. The other ones are there because they saw some advertisement, they heard a song that year, their friends dragged them, etc. So, yeah, I'll be able to do it, but it'll be less. It'll be fewer people and less shows, but it'll happen. I'm transitioning now. It's all about having your hands in as many things as possible.
Yeah.
And I've had a unique career that spanned a very interesting time in music. As far as
how so?
The collapse of the old model of the music industry, of one-size-fits-all artist
Yeah.
with massive record labels and big deals and big budgets to that collapsing, and then the rise of bootlegging and internet downloading to the music industry figuring itself out and the evolution of streaming and social media being used for direct-to-fan marketing, into now where we're kind of evening out, where it's so easy to stream or to click and download that people are less inclined to steal music because you have to go through far much more to do so. So we found a way to capitalize again off of music, and in often ways make more money, which is a very big misconception that the music industry tries to, I think, benefit from everyone still believing that the music industry is suffering. I think the music industry benefits from that myth, where it is doing very, very well through streaming and through licensing and through selecting artists that have small niche audiences and cult followings, and no longer going after artists that can appeal to everyone. Every once in a while you're going to get that mega artist for sure. But the amount of artists that are on major labels that the artists themselves appear indie is a trend right now, you know, and it's a beneficial trend, I think, to the music industry. And my career kind of spans all of that. So I've learned how to market directly to fans. I've learned how to tour on big budgets and little to no budget. You know, I've learned the music licensing game and how to solicit music and craft music for licensing. And I can now apply everything that I've learned to someone else. And that's where I'm at now. You know?
And do you have anyone that's kind of under you that you're, you know, your protege that you're nurturing and helping him avoid mistakes? Or do you get people, do you get young cats reaching out just to ask you, hey man, I'm struggling with this, or
Bro,
can you help me out?
I gotta be honest with you. Maybe you can relate to this. All the time. And when I try to help and put them up on game, it's rejected. It's like this millennial belief that there's so many wealthy people at such a young age that if they're not that wealthy at that age, they're not successful.
They're a failure.
So their parameters for success have been completely warped.
100%.
And their concept of work ethic on how hard things are has been completely warped because
100%.
all this, they're so hyper exposed to the end result. So someone will come to me and, you know, all the time and they'll be like, yo, bro, I'm trying to get on. Help me. I'm like, all right, well, in order to do so, this is what you have to do. This is how much work you have to put. This is how many songs you have to do. This is how many remixes you have to do.
And they don't like it.
They don't like the answers I'm giving them.
100%.
They're not trying to hear it. And when eventually they admit that they don't like it, they disappear. They're off.
Is there any one particular person or guy or woman that's actually taken on board your advice?
In music?
Just in general,
Shout out to Lawrence. My documentary videographer. He understands the value of hard work and is down to put it in at any moment.
Yeah, it's true, man. Like
my band in general, they understand the sacrifice. You know,
totally.
But it's been most people. No.
Yeah, oh for sure, man. Like, you're right. We live in a generation where everything's instant. You know, even my kids, they just wanna watch a YouTube clip. I'll get it instantly. You know, people see someone succeeding, they want that instantly. But when you tell them about the long tail and that success isn't, you know, it's not linear. There's some bumps. You know, there'll be periods where it feels like you're going nowhere for 4 years. But you got to keep going through. You know. People don't like that. And at the end of it, you might have put in 10 years in it, and at the end of it, you know, success still isn't guaranteed. You know, that's hard to muster. Like,
it's hard to convince people to tell people,
man.
and they don't want to hear it.
And then it kind of, when you think about it yourself, you're like, man, I'm kind of crazy that I actually took this risk.
Are you crazy or are you objective?
100%.
And is objectivity rare?
You
know? That's what I'm about. It's like, being objective is really, really hard. Stepping outside of yourself and saying, what are my skill sets? What am I good at? What do I like versus what am I good at? Do they actually line up?
100%. That's one of the hardest things, self-awareness. And then having a group of people around you that actually, like, you know, they just get real with you. You're like, yo, man, just tell me straight up. am I shit at this?
Right.
Help me.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think that's like, I think the people that are the best in their field, they're not afraid to admit their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
then they're also very, very particular about picking the right people, to have around them as well. Obviously, you've done that amazingly with your band. With the people around you as well to help you get to the point where you're at now, and you're all helping each other. So,
Yeah, man, we're one big, happy, dysfunctional family.
yeah,
As a way any family should be.
every family, every functioning family's got to be dysfunctional.
Exactly,
man.
it has to be a level of dysfunction. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
How big's your family?
What, my musical family?
Oh, your family.
My family,
siblings?
family?
Yeah.
Jeez. I have 5 siblings total. I was raised with 4.
Damn, I got 5 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you on the scale?
Depends on which part of the scale. My mother was married once before my dad and had my sister.
Yeah.
They were divorced. My mom and dad married, had me. They were divorced. My dad married my stepmother and had 4 more.
Yeah.
I was raised with my stepmother and my 4 siblings as the oldest, and very much in my older brother to my siblings. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So just to switch it up, bro, because I know you're pretty pressed with time. You're playing, you're playing in a few hours. Just a few questions that I've always wanted to ask you as well.
Ask away, man.
How does you're Muslim?
Yeah.
How does faith play in the whole creative process for you?
Islam for me is giving me structure. It's giving me, how would you explain it? It keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
It makes me understand, like we were talking about earlier off camera, my fragility and how everything can be over in an instant.
Yeah.
There's a saying that my dad has said to me growing up constantly. I even mentioned it in the song. You live every day as if it's your last. You plan every day as if you live for an eternity.
Yeah.
This is Islamic thought,
That's amazing.
you know?
I like that.
And having my core beliefs grounded in such philosophies has been fantastic for me,
Yeah.
especially as a traveling musician,
Yeah.
you know? Keeping that moral compass straight and the discipline that comes from it, you know? I'm not drinking on tour. I'm not eating crazy. I'm not doing anything that would make my job harder. You know, allowing me room for clarity and focus. You know, and that's given me that. Ibn Battuta, one of my favorite people in history. He's the most traveled man by foot in the history of the world. He traveled the entire Islamic empire by foot from the Maghreb in Morocco all the way to China. And the Prophet Muhammad in the Bible, peace be, and cut that part. I made a mistake because my mom's Christian, my dad's Muslim. Edit. The Prophet Muhammad in the Quran, peace be upon him, said, travel to the ends of the world to seek knowledge, even if it means China. Because in his day, China was the end of the world. So as a rapper named Oddisee, which means journey in Greek, I just want knowledge and I just want to travel to acquire it so that it helps my creative process. And those principles came to me from Islam. Art, geometry, physics, poetry, literature. These are all things Islamic that I acquired that encouraged me to go out and seek more of it. So yeah, it's played a huge role in my ethos and just my way of thinking, as well as my spirituality. I think the spirituality is what most people tend to focus on when it comes to religion. And we tend to forget how religion can play a way in our philosophy. And when we do talk about it in philosophy, we tend to only focus on the negative aspects of it, or suppressing people and gender, etc., or withholding information from them. But philosophically, like, Islam has been really helpful to me. When you know the history, when you know what people have been responsible for, it's been a huge impact on me.
Yeah, that's so fascinating, man. So just based on that, Van, I think just the discipline that it's added, the rituals, just all those things.
Ritual,
think,
just another one in Islam, taught me ritual and so many other things in my life. Like, I make coffee every morning the exact same way because I grew up in a culture of ritual.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you use? Sorry to kind of deviate away, but do you use coffee as a tool? So
Yes.
before you write. So obviously you like the ritual aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then do you use it as a tool to, obviously it's gonna stimulate your cognitive function. Do you use that before you write or perform or?
I use coffee as a tool of ritual to create some form of routine for me, especially when I'm on the road. Making coffee the exact same way every morning, it allows me to stay grounded. And when I'm moving around from city to city every day and I literally forget what day it is or where I'm at or where I woke up, having that ritual of doing the exact same thing every day, of grinding my beans, weighing out my coffee, making my coffee, it makes where I'm at, it doesn't matter. As long as I start my day off doing the exact same thing, I find this level of comfort. And it allows me to be on the road for longer periods of time. The caffeine is an added bonus.
Yeah, 100%, man.
yeah.
Like everything, right?
Yeah.
Is that, you must apply a lot of those, your discipline rituals to all aspects of your life in as well. Like just sitting down to write. I reckon one of the hardest things to do is to actually sit down. It's not the writing itself probably, or doing the work. It's actually, having a discipline to sit down, cancel out the noise and apply yourself.
Get out of my head. I tell people all the time, most people say it's easier said than done. I believe that it's easier done than said.
Yeah, 100%.
It's much harder to articulate to yourself what it is that you're trying to do and really map it out and put the thought into what it is you're doing. But once you do that, you're following a blueprint and the execution is easy. It's tedious work, but it's not difficult.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm able to do an album in 3 months, because I'll spend the year thinking about the record and I'll spend 3 months executing it.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
What's that quote? I think it's by an ex-president, or he says, if I had 4 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 3.5 hours sharpening the axe. The execution part, if you sharpen the axe, man, you'll do that quickly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, write that down, man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Credit V. Man.
Yeah.
Just before we wrap up, man, I just want to ask you, obviously, we all get, you're a successful person, even though, as you said, it's subjective.
Sure.
I think you are in my eyes. You've been an
appreciate
influence to me. You've been a good friend. Even though, as I said, we probably only chat once a year.
I
It feels
know.
like it's yesterday. You get big bumps in the road. You might feel like the music you're producing or the work you're producing may not be good.
Sure.
What advice would you give to someone that's like, an artist, a musician, someone trying to build a business that does have those days or those months or those periods and nothing seems to be working for them? What advice would you have for them, if you could kind of summarize it in a couple of minutes, just to kind of push on through? And maybe a few, whether it be a few tools or tactics, or what could you, what insights could you give to these people?
Sure. You are your own worst critic. And if you're a person who's already contemplating these issues of if your product is good enough or not, you've already put yourself in a position where your expectations are significantly higher than the recipient. And it is far easier to satisfy people on the outside than we think it is. And that's a sad truth. That our own expectations, for when myself and my band are on stage and we may make a few mistakes and we're like, oh, we messed up. No one notices. So how much does it matter? So don't stress out about it. Because I'm not saying, slack off by any means.
Yeah.
But if you reach those points where you think what you're making isn't connecting with people or isn't as good enough, hands down, there will be someone that it resonates with and that connects with it.
There's a lot of people in this world.
There's a lot of people in this world. Create as many different demographics and boxes. Never be afraid to be put in a box. Just be put in as many boxes as possible.
I like that, man.
That's the truth. Like, if there's a box of people who like your music at this quality of your own expectations, feed that to them. If there's people that really like the music that you really, really appreciate, that is so involved and in depth that it only really appeals to a certain small percentage, don't expect the rest of the world to get that. Just give that to those people. And then you'll find yourself in this position where you're creating without stress, because every style of whatever it is that you create, you've created a market for it. Your lowbrow stuff, your highbrow stuff, your comedic stuff, your serious stuff, your playful things, your serious things, your individual work, your collaborative work. You've created an avenue for all of those things, and they're all expressions of you. They're all avenues of your consciousness. So as long as you diversify yourself, just feed people what they want and don't stress out about it too much.
Bro, like, I've got nothing more to add to that. That's beautiful, bro.
Thank you.
Just want to thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure, bro.
Seriously, man.
But man,
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Man.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you everybody for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and found any type of value, please subscribe to our podcast, share with your friends, and give us a 5-star review on iTunes to be in the draw to win a $200 I Love Ugly gift voucher. We will be drawing a winner weekly. Good luck and see you on the next episode.